Hi everyone, welcome to Dividends, the show for and about your College of Business. And I feel like I've hit the jackpot today. I've got a couple of heavy hitters from the College of Business, and we're going to start with Dr. Merrill Workington. And you're a professor of information systems, and we'll get into all the awards and all the publications, and you really are an all-star globally in your field. But tell us what that space looks like, information systems. If I'm a student, what do I have to look forward to there?
Well, information systems are at the juncture between companies and individuals and technology. So our students learn about technology. They learn about database and systems analysis and the internet, how to build systems and take programming classes and so forth. But they also learn about how companies use that information to improve management decision making. So it's really where people and organizations, especially companies, and technology come together.
But some of your recent research in particular has been on how people make those decisions on their own security, internet security or whatnot, at work and at home? Or?
At work and at home, and they're really different categories, because at work, you and I and other people who work for a company or organization have policies we're supposed to comply with. And we know that a lot of people don't. In fact, there's a lot of research that suggests that the biggest vulnerability that companies have are employees who are accidentally doing things, or they're downright committing criminal acts. And so what we can do to improve the compliance with the policies is going to help the organization be more secure. In many cases, though, it's not actual fraud or helping competitors and so forth, espionage. It's actually just people who are careless, who are poorly trained, who pick easy to guess passwords, or click on an email link they shouldn't be clicking on.
So how do you quantify human behavior, which is so unpredictable? Or maybe it is more predictable than we think. I mean, what did your research show you?
Well, we've used lab experiments, field experiments, and other techniques to really get at the behavior of individuals in a variety of ways. We've even looked at what's going on in their brain by using the functional magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, to look at the brains of people when we give them threat warnings. You know, we've all seen the threat warnings outside of security. This is your brain on drugs, or the crash test dummies, in the car. Well, we are using these sort of fear appeals, not for anti-smoking and for other things, but to warn people about threats to the security of their information. And when you do that, the flip side to the warning about the threat is the proper thing to do. So the crash test dummy, it's wear your seatbelt. In our case, we have, these are the things that can cause your hard drive to crash, or these are hackers trying to fool you with an email, and then these are the things you should do to respond to that. So we're using a whole variety of research methods to really understand what people are doing and what they're thinking and what motivates them, why some employees are more secure than others, why some people don't pay close attention when they're using the internet and other people are more careful. And we're revealing some interesting trends.
All right, so I'm not trying to embarrass you, but I want to go ahead and to do sort of your greatest hits here. You've published over 300 manuscripts, 75 peer-reviewed journals, 7 books, cited over 12,000 times, been ranked among the top information system scholars in the world. Why Mississippi State? Obviously, you could be teaching just about wherever you want, so why do you remain here?
My wife and I love Starkville. We love the people at Mississippi State. I've worked in Boston, I've worked in Washington, I do get recruited by other schools, but we really love it here. It's a great College of Business. Work with great people like you and Danny here that we're going to meet in a minute, and our dean and my colleagues, and we have good students in the program. We love working with the doctoral program. It's nice to also be at a place where you don't have to worry about the crime and you can go home for lunch if you want. So there are a lot of factors, personal and professional, that keep me here.
Well, and we should tell folks that obviously you do research that brings great recognition to the university, and we appreciate that. You teach our students, which obviously is one of our core mission.
And a great fun.
But you also take this and you work with companies around the state, right? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, we do. We've worked with a number of companies, both in our classes and in our research, to help them evaluate the security. But in addition to security, we also do work, as you know, with some of the companies that you're involved with, just to help them look at their systems, come up with designs for new systems to help them be more efficient or more effective in the way they manage their resources or time. But in terms of security, we're actually working with several companies here in Mississippi and with my co-authors in other areas of the country to help them evaluate how can you do better computer security training. And one of the things we've learned, we actually had a grant from Homeland Security on this, is that people don't respond to training in the same way. We're not all the same. We don't treat our students the same way, and yet computer security training is a one-size-fits-all approach. Right. And we've learned that people respond differently to different kinds of training, so we're trying to develop a customized way of doing that.
Well, we appreciate it. He comes in the E-Center a good bit, and we always look forward to him popping in. He has a lot of energy, a lot of ideas, always willing to help, and we're glad you're at Mississippi State University. Congratulations. Very, very quickly, what is the award you just won?
The award was from the International Federation for Information Processing, and it's they've picked 5 scholars in the world for their Outstanding Service Award, because I co-founded a research group that's a global group that we have an annual workshop every year, and I've worked real hard to build that, and in recognition they gave me this service award. Well,
congratulations, and again, glad to have you on board at Mississippi State.
Great, thanks, Jeff.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay tuned.
There are a number of student activities that students can get involved with, but few of them know that they can start a company while they're in school. We want students to consider that when they come to school here, they have 4 years to create themselves a job, create a new venture, and that's really what the Center's here to provide. We're here to provide the resources, connections, and programs that can help them start a company. The background of our students is extremely diverse. All across campus, students are getting involved, forming these companies, and people, all sorts of different backgrounds, coming together to create these startups that are just doing amazing things. Regardless of where you're at in the entire startup process, whether you're coming in with a fresh idea, already have an established company, or just are trying to get interested in entrepreneurship, we want to put students in a position where they feel encouraged and supported to pursue their passions so they can make an impact no matter what field or industry they go into. The Entrepreneurship Center exists to give innovators here at Mississippi State an edge. Our goal is to provide startups with the resources and support they need to reach the marketplace and ultimately achieve success.
Success for us was growing our company from 2 founders to 8 employees.
Success for me was turning my personal lifestyle into a corporate partnership.
Success for us is turning academic research into applied engineering solutions.
Success for me was turning my passion into a profitable opportunity.
The success of our entrepreneurs is a team effort. It takes a strong support infrastructure of people to encourage innovation and explore new ventures. We need business leaders to mentor and guide these visionaries through the practical challenges and do everything we can to give them a shot at real success.
Welcome back, everyone. Part 2 of our all-star edition of Dividends involves Dr. Danny Holt. He's a professor of management here at Mississippi State University, and we work very, very closely together in the area of entrepreneurship. And Danny, you've seen the program before. You know we feature our entrepreneurs and talk about the success at the E-Center and with Eric Hill. But you take care of the classroom piece of that, and that is an area that is foreign to me. But tell us what interests you about entrepreneurship, and what are you seeing out there with our students?
Oh gosh, well first I want to thank you for having me, and got to say, how about Merrill?
Yeah, that's tough act to follow.
Amazing stuff. Yes, I'm very humbled to follow Merrill. Actually, that's one of the things that is really exciting for me, is when we look at entrepreneurship, and especially among our students, is it's really about recognition of opportunity, and it's about a mindset. And what's really fun to watch is that they often, like many people with regards to entrepreneurship, we think about it with regards to a region like Silicon Valley, like the Boston Route 128 corridor. And it's more than that. It's really about recognizing problems to solve, coming up with clever ways to solve them. And we have some incredibly clever young folks here that I know you work with, Eric work with, and I get to see them in the classroom and start to see them as they develop these ideas that some of them immediately may not bring to life, but over the long term, you start to see, I get emails constantly from people that took class several years ago and said, I never thought I was going to start a business, but hey, I'm looking at this, can I get some help?
Well, and you said something a couple years ago that has stuck with me, and that is, it's not our job to tell a student their idea is good or bad, because the marketplace will decide that.
Absolutely.
And that really is true. We are there to guide them, to mentor them, and then to hopefully give them the tools to find out whether it's going to be successful.
Absolutely, and I think that's the interesting part about what we do, is I'm not the target market for many of these products and many of these ideas that these young people come up with and the things that they dream of. So I really try not to necessarily, and I think it's difficult for, given my demographic, my age group, my just preferences, to hold back and start just, let's help them systematically think through the idea, understand the risks that they might be taking if they pursue the idea, and then let's the market decide.
All right, so let's get to know Danny Holt. I took it for granted because Danny and I are buddies, but tell us how you ended up at Mississippi State, because you're a military guy.
Yes, in fact, I served 20 years in the U.S. Air Force prior to my arrival at Mississippi State. I started as an engineer, as an electrical engineer undergraduate. In the Air Force, I served as a civil engineering officer, which essentially manages facilities and construction and design across an air base, and have been fortunate enough to do that around the world. But part of what I did in the Air Force is I was a scholar and an academic who worked on developing what we would say is an entrepreneurial mindset in what many would say is an incredibly bureaucratic organization.
I was going to say, that's almost an oxymoron.
Absolutely. And I will say, we had amazingly clever folks, and I can tell you some interesting stories probably for another time, where we looked at some really simple problems, turned it over to some of our young officers, and just to see what interesting, novel, innovative solutions they came up with. And they always did amaze us with some of the things that we overlooked. But as I retired from the service, I was looking for an opportunity in academia to continue that scholarship, to continually looking for innovation and people that were being innovative, and Mississippi State was the place.
Well, we appreciate all your efforts, and I know that we work together, taking teams of MBA students, working with industry in the state to try to make those industries better, more profitable, so they can hire more people and make this, bring the state level up. And I appreciate the work you do on the, it's not just academic piece, because it all is gray, it all goes together. But folks, I wanted you all to have a chance to meet two of the reasons why the College of Business has such a great reputation. We had Dr. Workentin and Dr. Holt. Your kids are in good hands when they come to Mississippi State. I really appreciate you coming and sharing that with us.
Thanks again for having me.
That's going to do it for us, folks. Thanks for watching this edition of Dividends, and we'll see you next time.